So hi everybody, as you're coming in.
Hi everybody, thank you for joining us.
I'm going to start off with a land acknowledgement. Even though this webinar is offered virtually and we're welcoming participants from many parts of Canada and across the world, it's still important to recognize that our school has a physical location, and we'd like to acknowledge the sacred land on which the Adler Graduate Professional School operates. It has been a site of human activity of Indigenous peoples for over 15,000 years. The land on which our school building sits is the territory of the Huron-Wendat and Petun First Nations, the Seneca, and most recently the Mississaugas of the Credit River. The territory was the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and Confederacy of the Ojibwe and allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community and on this territory. Thank you everybody for sharing in that with me. So just some really quick technical notes before we get started. If you're having any trouble with your internet connection, your registration will also have a way to dial in by phone. So if your internet connection is wobbly, you can also join by phone. There's also a chat function. So that's for you to communicate with other attendees and the panelists, so you can share resources and comments there, but we ask that you keep those constructive and professional. You're welcome to introduce yourself in the chat, say a little something about yourself. Make sure when you're using the chat that you select that messages go to all panelists and attendees, and then everybody can see it. And if you have a question at any point during the webinar, you can type it into the chat, or you can use that raise hand function that you'll see at the bottom of your screen. So if you raise your hand, then we'll give you permission to unmute yourself and show your video. But please note that we're recording this webinar. So if you're not comfortable with your image or your voice being recorded, please just put your chat or your question in the chat and we can answer it that way. And welcome to today's Many Hearts webinar. It's so nice to be back in the new year. We're really excited for this year and excited for the lineup of presenters that we have for you. And these webinars are co-sponsored by Adler Graduate Professional School and the Alliance of Psychotherapy Training Institutions. They're an opportunity for mental health professionals to share the heart of their practice with other practitioners and the wider community. So with that, I'm going to pass it along to Dr. Linda Page to do the introduction. Dr. Page is Adler's founder and the president of the Alliance of Psychotherapy Training Institutions.
Thank you so much, Camille, and I really want to welcome all of you who are joining us today. Every time we read the land acknowledgement, I think about how fortunate we are to have the Indigenous traditions that can help us understand what it means to share a dish of plenty when we only have one spoon. That requires cooperation. And that's what our Adler School, it promotes, and it's certainly a key aspect of the Alliance of Psychotherapy Training Institutions also. I am very, very pleased to introduce to you Debbie Papadakis, who has been a longtime member of APTI and has presented in person at our Many Hearts when we had a series that was done in person at our Adler premises. Now, despite the hardship and other stresses of being required to, of not being allowed to have in-person meetings, the silver lining to that is that we get to introduce many more people in many more places to the kind of work, the heart of the work that Debbie Papadakis does and has been doing for many years. And this is a very special day. 2 days ago, Debbie's new book called The Relationship Code came out. And that is, you know, just a fabulous, fabulous contribution for all of us. And I can't wait to read it myself. I was just saying to her before we started that there's a lot of pressure on relationships now. And the fact that we are able to have her here to talk about her book, I think is a very timely and required and much appreciated bit of content. Debbie has an incredible background in hypnotherapy, and I invite you to read the bio that she sent to us. She is founder and director of the Hypno Healing Institute in Toronto, Canada. So if you want to learn more about that, I recommend that you check out the Hypno Healing Institute. And she has awards, and she's a published author and a wonderful support for psychotherapy in general. So I highly recommend that you follow up with her. Today, Debbie will be discussing how what it is that she teaches in her psychotherapy, in her hypnotherapy work, and suggests that in fact adding hypnotherapy to your existing psychotherapy work can be very useful, in particular in terms of harnessing long-lasting results for the clients. So let's get to the exciting part of this. I'm very, very pleased to introduce you, Debbie, to this wonderful audience today.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Dr. Linda Pates. I do know Dr. Linda Pates for some years, and I admire her in many levels, the way she runs her Adler school. And it's a wonderful school. If anybody looking for to extend their education, is a wonderful place to be. And yes, I did speak a couple of times at your place, and with the Many Hearts, which is a great space for me too. And yes, I do psychotherapy. I am a psychotherapist and I am a hypnotherapist, and I combine those two modalities together, and I found it's very powerful to have those two together. And so, because my goal is to help the best I can my clients. So anything I learn and I know, and I'm actually a professional student, I haven't stopped going and learning, and I'm okay with that. So I'm learning from everywhere, and adding other modalities into my work. So I do understand or study many parts of psychotherapy, many different types of hypnotherapy. And so many years, I think I started, the first time I took a hypnotherapy class was in 1994. And then took me a few years, of course, to graduate, and then the psychotherapy, and then I'm now part of the College of Psychotherapy. And over the years, I try to learn as much as I can to do my best, to do my work best to help my clients. That's my goal. So today I'm going to talk about hypnotherapy and how to incorporate with psychotherapy. And later on, I actually 2-3 days ago, we filmed, is it the word film? We film one of my sessions, and I have the permission. Of course, I asked permission before to share this video with you. Now, I tried to cut it down. It was an hour and I think 15 minutes. We cut it down to 40 minutes, but even that, it might be a little too long. But so we might even cut it today. But it's an incredible way to see how I incorporated hypnotherapy with psychotherapy. And you can take your own psychotherapeutic tools and again, you don't have to follow my way, my tools, but as long as once we work with the psychotherapy and the hypnotherapy, the reason I personally embrace that is because we can work from much deeper levels, and then we can have the communication between the conscious and subconscious, and so the healing is happening faster. So I have a presentation, I have a PowerPoint. I would like to speak to basically go through the PowerPoint, and at any time anybody can ask me questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Any questions you have, even in the middle of it, I don't know. I will do my best to answer all the questions. Thank you. So, and thank you for inviting me, Lena and Camille. I'm sorry I forgot that in the beginning. Okay, so, okay. Now, we have a quote here from William James, which was a psychologist. The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude of mind. And of course, Plato, which is my favorite person, if you want to heal your mind, you must first heal your mind. Thank you. Let's change the page. Now, what is hypnosis? First of all, the word hypnosis comes from the Greek word, which some of you know. I'm coming from Greece. It means sleep. And the word hypnotism or hypnosis comes from the Scottish surgeon, Dr. James Braid, in 1841, which basically means nervous sleep, which we know hypnosis is not sleep, and I will talk about it later, but so the name comes from that. It is a tool of bypassing the conscious mind and allowing us to access the subconscious mind. So hypnosis is a tool that allows us to bypass the conscious and to access the subconscious, where all emotions, feelings, and all that exist. So it goes beyond the logic, which is the logic is at the conscious level, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute in more details, addressing the deeper self, the subconscious, where all our memories are stored. Hypnotic state is a natural state. A lot of people have a fears of being hypnotized, but I would like to tell you that 3/4 of a day we're all hypnotized. So you might want to think, you might not accept that, but once you're daydreaming or zoning out, watching television, and I have a son who, once he's watching TV, I will go next to him and I'll say, Mike, and he wouldn't even respond to me. And I go a couple of more times and I say, Mike, and he will say, what? That he heard me, yet he was not paying attention to me. He was paying attention to his television. This is basically the state we're going in when we're hypnotized. And it works when you drive in a car and you're thinking of your grocery store or the groceries you're going to buy, and if an emergency arises, automatically your foot goes down to the brake, because you are totally alert. In fact, I think myself, we are 25% more alert to whatever we're paying attention when we're hypnotized. So when we're getting into that zone, through hypnosis techniques, we can enter at that subconscious level at will, and we can access past information such as traumas, emotions, feelings long forgotten. So we're trying to get them through the conscious and we don't remember them. However, we can access those memories through the subconscious levels. Now, to really understand it, you have to experience it. And if we have 10 minutes at the end, my goal is to do a 10 minutes group induction. So let's go further, please. According to the experts, and I'm not going to read all of them, but according to Dr. Milton Erickson, which I think he is the father of hypnosis. I know there are a number of people who say different people are father of hypnosis, but and I've been to his conferences down south in different places where they have them. He believes that hypnosis is communication concentrating exclusively on your own thoughts, values, memories, and beliefs about life. And the American Association, Psychological Association, it says it's a state of consciousness involving focused attention and reduce peripheral awareness. In other words, we focus on what we are decided to focus, and we let go of the peripheral awareness, characterized by enhanced capacity for respond to suggestions. And if we look at, there is another person, David Oakley from University College. I have all this information in the PowerPoint. You guys can look at it afterwards. It's a state of change mental activity, alter an induction procedure that mainly encompasses a state of focus, attention, and absorption. And my definition of hypnosis is a focus attention. That's because I always like to put things in the simplest way. Thank you, Winnington. Now the applications, where do we use, we can use hypnosis. Hypnosis can use it every day in in all of our lives. But it's commonly used as an induction to bring a person into hypnotic trance. Later on, I'm going to talk further about that. If I hypnotize somebody and I do nothing, I might put them in some relaxed state or might not, depends on the induction I'm going to use. I bring them out, nothing happened. So really the hypnosis is not, the induction does not do, unless I give suggestions, does not do the work. We have to do something after we hypnotize somebody. We got to do something, and that's where the psychotherapeutic techniques come along in order to work with a person. And then we have the waking hypnosis. It's basically, we enter the state, we enter this zone, I will say, and which is altered state without any formal induction. This can happen even when you're driving, even when you're listening to music, even when you when you focus with your client, even if you're not doing hypnosis, if you're doing psychotherapy, you can focus so well with the client and you enter in that state. And hypnotherapy comes when we combine hypnosis with psychotherapeutic tools to produce effective, long-lasting results. I have a question, and maybe I need to run. Are you saying that hypnosis increases our attention to whatever we are attending? Yes. The question was, somebody sent a question, are you saying that hypnosis increases our attention to whatever we are attending to? Hypnosis is the tool to take us to that place, but once we get to that place, we're focusing, and this is exactly right, increases our attention because we let go of the peripheral sounds. Like here next door to my office, there is a parking lot. When I'm here, sitting here and I'm hypnotized, you might hear the car running, but you don't pay attention to it. You focus totally on the conversation that we have. And then we use it for regression therapy, which I'm very fond of myself. And a lot of my work is around the regression therapy. It can reveal the initial or secondary traumatic event or root cause that underlines your client's issues. Sometimes we don't know where the issue is. We can talk about it and we can analyze it and we can understand it. But if we find what the core issue comes from, then you will find yourself much easier to work with it. Later on, I'm going to show in the video that you're going to see how this lady went back to this, found out what the real problem was. And these events, these emotional traumas are stored at the subconscious level. And once we access these events, then we can use the therapeutic work to, however you work with to resolve issues, you can techniques, and we can let go of those emotional crystallized charges. And then we have the age regression, which is basically the same thing, takes us into a childhood. And you want to move more, please?
Yeah, there's a question.
I know, but I don't want to, I can get the question. Thank you. Then we do past life regression, which is, I teach classes and that. Not everybody's agree with that, but that's okay. We can hypnotize the person and we can go back to that. We do the life between life therapy work, which is basically taking the person into the time after the past life to before they're born. And we do the genealogical work, which I do it a lot. When I take the person back into their to their time. And in a specific time, I use it if we have issues with your mother and father, and we almost have a hard time forgiving this person. If you really look at their life, and then we can connect with their history, and all of a sudden we're able to forgive that person. And then we use it for self-hypnosis. I teach a lot of my clients how to self-hypnotize and to find their own peacefulness within themselves. When we do automatic writing, which I do myself, so when you start writing, all of a sudden information comes from nowhere. It comes from your subconscious. And then we have the suggestion therapy. When a person is in a hypnotic state, we can then give suggestions, positive suggestions, in order to find their own solutions. Question is, I'm going to look at question. How do you see hypnosis and psychotherapy how do you see hypnosis and psychotherapy into two distinct different modalities? Could you please clarify? Well, they are, we can hypnotize somebody and then give them suggestions. That doesn't really go into the psychotherapy work. But then if you do psychotherapy work while they're in hypnosis, that's when we combine them. But you can do psychotherapy alone, or you can do hypnotherapy alone. But I personally like when I combine them together. They are different, but we can combine them together. Thank you. Can be used as an adjunct into forms of therapy. Direct suggestions we can give for symptoms reduction. You might say that's not a psychotherapy, and maybe not. But even in psychotherapy, you can when you communicate with a person, they can go into their own positive state and give suggestions to themselves, or you give them suggestions to consider. Uncovering suppressed emotions with appropriate questioning, and the appropriate question is the big thing here. We can access untapped resources, potential, uses to calm the mind and body, relaxes the person. Again, depends what kind of induction you're using, because we can use inductions that does not require relaxation. We can use it for pain management, for childbirth, for dentistry, surgery. And once you start seeing how when a person is hypnotized with the appropriate suggestions, can numb their hand and numb their body, they can have a surgery for 3 hours just with hypnosis, then you see the power of the mind that we have access to. We don't think we have access to, yet we do. And then we can restructure thoughts, and we can help with behavior interventions. And a little bit of history here. I don't know if I want to go through all of that, but you can, because the PowerPoint is going to be available for you guys to see it later on. But basically in 1734, we had Mesmer, who we call it the father of healing with hypnosis, actually. And then we have the James Braid, he was a surgeon. James Estelle, who was a surgeon also, he did thousands of surgeries in Calcutta, in India. and 300 major surgeries where they were amputating legs and all that through hypnosis. Bernheim is somebody I study and I love his work. He had started at, he found the Nancy School of Teaching Hypnotic Psychotherapy at the time. And then we have Freud. Freud, he used hypnosis at some point in his life. And my understanding at some point he let it go and he continued with his work only. But the other thing is, when you're hypnotized, you need to speak a lot. And at some point, Freud had a problem. He had his surgery, and he wasn't able to speak a lot. So that might have been some issue. And then Emil Quaid, he developed the autosuggestion every day and every way I get better and better, which helps a lot of people. And Dr. Milton Erickson, he is the father of modern hypnotists. The unconscious, he says, the unconscious is the source of healing. A goal of hypnosis is to empower the client, the patient, to increase their autonomy. To me, that's a very powerful statement. And hypnotherapy is endorsed in 1892. It was recognized by the British Medical Association. In 1955, it was approved by the British Medical Association. In 1958, it was approved approved by the American Medical Association. And 1958, the French medical endorsement we have. And then 61, we have the Council of American Psychiatric Association endorsement. 1995, the United States Natural Institutes of Health Conscious statement. And 1996, we have the National Institute of Health statement. 1999, the Council of Professional Hypnosis Organizations, COPHO founded. And now we have more than 45 professional organizations support hypnosis excellence. Thank you. Is there another question? No. Okay. So there are some myths about hypnosis, and I understand that a lot of people, they will tell me all the time, because I've been doing this work for so many years. People will lose control. They do not lose control at all. In fact, they're not sleeping. They are totally aware. Later on, you're going to watch the video with I'm hypnotizing the person, and I have a total conversation with the person and see responses. In fact, it brings the conscience into it. So it's just an altered state where we have access to more information. And if a fire takes place here in the middle of the session, you might think about it. I mean, not you may, for sure. I had last week, I was hypnotizing somebody, and after 10 minutes, I was working with him. He says, "Oh, I have left the tea kettle on. I have to go and turn it off." So I said, "Okay, go ahead." And then he came back, and he went back to the same state that he was. So in other words, we do not lose control. This is just a theory. People may not come out of hypnosis. That's not true. If you let them enough time, they just relax and they'll come out. But I have another technique. If somebody goes too deep and they don't, because they love the state, they sort of stay there, you can bring them. But if you don't have time, you just I usually put a just drop of water in their hand, and I go around here. As soon as they touch the water, they're out. Impossible to not come out of hypnosis. That's just a myth. You will reveal all your secrets. In fact, hypnosis, guys, is not even used for the courts anymore, because you can lie. So if you don't want to say something, you're never going to say it. So this is not a state that people will reveal the secrets, or you're going to surrender your will. If you believe something is wrong, even when you're hypnotized, you're going to believe it's wrong. if you believe something is right, even when you hypnotize, you believe is right. So nobody surrenders their will. And a magic cure, no, it's a process. It's a process of working and resolving things. So it does not require relaxation. And that's true. Again, it depends what kind of inductions we're using. Thank you. I would like to spend a little time on this graph I have here. And this is where all my work is focused. When I'm working with somebody, this is what I'm thinking about. We have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. The conscious mind has the long-term, the short-term memories, and has the thoughts. If I think of something, that's where it goes. And then the subconscious, you can read all this, it has the beliefs, the emotions, the feelings, and all the decisions and all that. But basically, if I was to give one word to the subconscious, it will be feelings or emotions. If I was to give one word to the conscious, it will be thoughts. And then we have the unconscious, which is the autonomic bodily function in the immune system. Right now, you probably had your lunch and you're digesting it right now, but you don't think about it. And you're blinking your eyes, you don't think about it. But people with addictions, the behavior of addictions are at the unconscious mind, the habits, the addictions. It's like an automatic pilot. In other words, to simplify all this, if I think of my mother, I have a certain feelings. So the thinking of my mother is at the conscious level. The feeling of love towards my mother is in the subconscious level. And then my body is going to feel better or worse, depends what I'm feeling. If I'm feeling positive thoughts, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to lift it. If I think of somebody that I dislike or I'm scared of, so the thought of that person is at the conscious level, the feeling is at the subconscious level, and then my body is going to shrink because let's pretend I felt angry or I felt fear. So the unconscious will then reading that thinking, that feeling, as my body goes into a certain way and I'm shrinking. So in other words, every thought we have is affecting the body, is it positive or negative or maybe neutral. So when somebody comes to me and asks me to work on anything, I usually go to the feelings. So I usually go to the feelings and I try to find out what is the feeling around this story I'm hearing. And once we are able to reverse that feeling, all of a sudden, even the thought is affected, and then the unconscious part of the mind is affected in a positive way. So in other words, if I didn't like somebody, I used to feel angry towards that person, but now I feel okay, because we change those feelings with certain techniques, then all of a sudden we have our body responds positively, and then even the thinking is more mellow. It might take some time, but it does affect the thinking too. So when somebody comes to me, I usually go to the feelings, and then with different techniques and ways, we change the feelings, and all of a sudden, once we change the feelings, the person is feeling better. And especially for addictions, and I work with a lot of people with addictions, when we take those deep hidden feelings inside of them, then they can control somehow the behavior. But if the addiction is run by those feelings that you're trying to avoid, it's very difficult to change that. So once we change those feelings, all of a sudden, then we can work on the behavior, and then they can have a success story. If anybody wanted to ask me any further than that, I can go further than that. But for now, I think in summary, if somebody comes with something to me, I focus on I will ask what the thinking is, what the story is. However, I want to get to the feeling, and once we change the feelings, all of a sudden we have different results. Thank you. Do you want to change it? Now, what I just said there is in more details here, and I know that the PowerPoint is going to stay there, so I'm not going to go over the same thing, but it's basically is the same thing what I just explained on the other slide. But you can read it for more details. Thank you. You want to change it? Now, they can measure the frequency, the brain frequency with EEG, and when we are at the beta level waves, we are the thinking state, which is the conscious state, and we can so we're in the thinking state, and every day we're working, we are in that level. And then when we start entering the subconscious, we are in the alpha level, and the frequency there can be from 7.5 to 12. The previous was 12 to 30. And there in light hypnosis, we enter in these levels. That's where the meditative relaxed state comes in, and we can see, we can close our eyes and visualize things. We can learn faster in that level. It's a very wonderful way to study, because again, we're letting go of the peripheral thoughts, and then we focus more. But then when we work with the subconscious, we go to the theta state, which is the waves, which is the subconscious level. That's where the between medium and a little deeper hypnosis goes. We're not quite asleep, including the REM dream state, and then where we can go into this deep meditative state. The intuition it's alert. The memories and vivid are very clear. Sometimes depends if we are visual people. If we're not visual people, we might focus more on the hearing and the sight and all that. And then more suggestible to suggestion here, and a very best state for creative visualization, exploration, and therapeutic work is done at that level. And then we go to the delta state waves, which is basically very deep hypnosis. We use that state for pain management a lot, but for really therapeutic work, we go into the subconscious level. Here we have up to 4 hertz. And this is the very, very deep level of hypnosis. And we can enter the non-physical stages, affects the immune system, and healing can happen here. And but the interesting thing with therapeutic work, mostly we are looking at the theta levels, theta waves. Thank you. Now, I would like you also to talk about how we process information. We look at the world outside and we see, we hear sounds, we touch things, we smell, we taste. All this, we look at the external world and interpret it through our 5 senses. And I will also put a 6th one there, which will be the intuition, but anyway. And then this information, we will hear it, see it, feel it, and all that. It will come to us, and some of it is going to be deleted. Some of them is going to be totally distorted, and some of them is we're going to generalize it. However, this information we receive now, we take it through our filters, and our filters are our memories, our suggestions, our beliefs, our values, our beliefs, emotions, attitudes, behaviors. And so we take it through that, and then we create a new information, and then those filters, then they become this new state, it becomes our inner interpretation and affects our feelings, affects the body responses, affects our state, it affects our, and then that will that will affect our behaviors and our goals, and therefore we will have success or failure. We're going to do something or we're not going to do something. Again, it depends on the state we are, but but all that affects our behaviors and so on. So this is just a general information, how we process the information. Thank you. Now, benefits of hypnotherapy. We can work and manage stress, PTSD, overcome anger, sadness, fears, phobias, improve memory. I'm not going to read all of them, but you can see there. I personally specialize in some way in relationship issues and also on sleep. Many years ago, I developed a protocol for sleep, and I have helped a lot of people. And I wrote an article, and it was published in one of the journals in Australia, the Hypnosis Hypnotherapy Journal of Australian Clinical, whatever. I have to get the book to tell you the exactly name. But anyway, we can help relationships. We can help overcome anxiety, depression, addictions, trauma resolution. We can overcome negative emotions, limiting beliefs, enhance creativity, improve relaxation. People do soul's purpose work for the spiritual people who would like to do spiritual work. How to achieve personal success, how to help athletic performance. We use it for pain control, to help children to overcome obstacles, learning difficulties, and so on. Eliminate stuttering, increase assertiveness, and regain emotional balance. But it's more than that. Basically, any negative emotion we feel or limiting beliefs, we can go and reverse all those to help people to live a better life. Effectiveness. There are some studies was done, and in Stanford University, study was done in 2016. Researchers at Stanford University of Medicine scanned 57 people's brains while they were under hypnosis, and they found that a hypnotized brain experiences changes in the brain, and give person more focused attention, more physical and emotional control, and the person can have a greater sense of calm and self-awareness. And the study is further down. If anybody wants to go on and check it. It's down in the bottom part. And then it was another study was done at where was that? At the Health Harvard, and again the study is down there. But they had anxiety. They talked about anxiety prior to having surgery, and people who have anxiety, many studies have reported that hypnosis reduced anxiety levels and lower blood pressure in patients before surgery, and enhanced recovery afterwards by shortening hospital stays and reducing complications like nausea and vomiting. But if we take that if you look at that, we don't have to have anxiety about surgery. You can reduce anxiety in many other ways. Another one was done in the Journal of Royal Society of Medicine, which patients slept significantly longer using self-hypnosis than when they were received the placebo effect. And more people had a normal night's sleep when they were using self-hypnosis alone than when they received placebo of medication, when self-hypnosis was they used, and also helped patients to fell asleep faster. And then we have post-traumatic stress disorder. A study was done by, where is the name? In the International Journal of Clinical and Experiential Hypnosis. The study, hypnotic sessions with Israeli combat veterans suffer from PTSD. One group was treated with drug therapy and psychotherapy, and the other group received 2 additional weekly sessions. They had also the drug therapy and psychotherapy, but also they would give them 2 sessions of hypnosis each week, and both groups improved. But the hypnosis, the group with the extra 2 sessions of hypnosis obtained better results in different areas such as sleep quality, ability to concentrate, improvements in the frequency of flashback, intrusive thoughts, avoidance behaviors, depression symptoms, and so on. And I think I have one more. And post-traumatic suggestion. This was Casebook of Clinical Hypnosis. In the, I can't see the name here. Can I? Casebook of Clinical Hypnosis. The Casebook of Clinical Hypnosis. The study examined how hypnosis was used along with his psychotherapy, not by himself, for PTSD sufferers, and then the procedures involved accessing the traumatic memories and reframing those positively, which I use a lot of that. I access the traumatic memories and then reframe them. And they found that so people improved. Using hypnosis in cases like this can help your clients face the traumatic experience by surrounding them with a new context, acknowledging their helplessness during the movement itself by then connecting with the positive, strengthening memories, which, as I said, I do that a lot. Through hypnosis, the client has safe access to memories along with and create to reframe a wider perspective. So in other words, we can use it for PTSD and all that along with psychotherapy. And using hypnosis in combination with psychotherapeutic processes allows for faster, long-lasting, effective outcomes because you are working directly with the core issues, which are at that subconscious level. And while the person is in trance, psychotherapists can apply their own psychotherapeutic tools to do analysis by using your own techniques. And when clients are asked specific questions in a trance state, the responses come strictly from the subconscious. I think that's the key thing, which shortens the therapy, because if we go to the core of the issue and clear up that, all of a sudden the subconscious has the ability to clear up the rest of the stuff. Clients may describe images, feelings, sensations they may not even remember. They are not at the conscious level. And now the question is, are these all true memories, true stories? My belief is, may not be 100% true stories, but is the perception of the person accept these stories. The reason I'm saying that, if I had 10 people, if I'm like right now, and many of you listening, if I ask you to repeat what I'm saying, you're all going to give me a different answer. So who's going to be true? It's going to be your true. And if the person at their own subconscious level, they have their own perception, and that perception affects them negatively in life, so then we're going to go and work with that. I don't always believe is the true 100% story. However, I'm okay to go and work with that perception you have. And as long as, remember what the goal is, the goal to have the person live a better, easier, happier life. And if we can clear it through clearing some perception that you have inside of you, it is the same thing. And hypnosis and psychotherapy can enhance the effectiveness of different approaches by working with the subconscious versus the conscious. And alone, hypnosis does not deliver results. As I said that a few minutes ago, just hypnosis does not do anything. We have to do something after we hypnotize the client. And one study of Journal of Consulting in Clinical Psychology, 2005, when hypnosis was used with CPT for post-traumatic stress disorder, the study shows CPT and hypnosis together resulted in greater reduction of re-experienced symptoms at post-treatment than CPT alone. And again, research suggests that when using a combination of hypnosis with psychotherapy can improve 70% of patients comparative if using psychotherapy alone. And this has come from Kurz at 1995, and we can look at that. In other words, combining psychotherapy with hypnotherapeutic techniques, we can open the door to the subconscious, and then we can resolve the issues, the conflicts, hidden pain, obstacles, self-sabotage, reveal the invisible connections between events and feelings, and help the client to trace the root cause of the problem back to the original traumatic event that hinders them from moving forward in their present day. Again, adding hypnosis into psychotherapy practice, you can combining hypnosis with psychotherapy will enhance your practice by helping your clients resolve issues faster. And because the issue is clear from the beginning of it, it can last longer. So allowing you to work with the subconscious, I mentioned that before, improving and even improve your own personal development and personal growth, and resolve complex issues with more simplicity. Through hypnotherapy, we can help the clients to dispel negative emotions, limited beliefs, fears, phobias, and explore hidden potential, connect with their true self, empower people to themselves to make positive, lasting changes, and to create positive attitude and behaviors, to heal the mind and the body, and to reconnect with the infinite source. Thank you. And we have trainings coming up. You can look at this later. Now we're going to go to the. Now we're going to go to the video, which a few days ago, I did a session and I thought I would like to share it with you. Now, our editing is not the best because we didn't have too much time to edit it. I tried to cut it as much as I can, and ended up being 40 minutes. The whole session was 1 hour and 15 minutes. And I think here's 40 minutes, but we might even cut it even shorter. While I'm going to be explaining some stuff. Is there a question here? Yes, I'm just going to put it here. It's right there. It's a Linda question. What's the question? Thank you for your explanation of the challenge with the truth of perception. I understand that there has been some controversy around the regression therapy and the truth of perception that are uncovered. Could you comment more on how you will work with those perceptions of the client? Also, are these current insurance companies that would cover regression? Yes, we are covered, isn't it? Yes, we are covered. And you want me to expand on that. I do not believe, like I mentioned, and I'm going to say it again, if I ask 5 of you to tell me what I said, all of you are going to give me different interpretation. So how can I trust, how can then tell you, you're going to repeat back to me your truth, and somebody else their own truth, and how they saw the situation. I remember a case I had to work one time with 2 sisters. One came, and then 2 hours later, or an hour later, the other sister came. And the first sister sat the whole time, basically, was so expressing her negativity about her father, how horrible he was, how this and that he was. And then the next sister would spend the next whatever time with me telling me how lovely her father was. We have to take what is their interpretation. And I work with that as though when I'm working, and that's the case. I don't imbalance it or make it different. And if that's what they think, and basically we take that negative, the negative feeling, and we try with some therapeutic techniques or some commands, like we can use NLP, we can use timeline therapy. You can, I mean, I have a many of techniques, or if even positive suggestions, we can reverse that, and all of a sudden the subconscious knows how to find the dots and do the healing. I hope I answered you, Linda. And if anybody at the end, I would like to have some time people to ask me more questions. This session, as I said, was done a few days ago, and the case study with the person is, I'll tell you a little bit about it. This lady, she is an opera singer, and she promised herself she's going to practice every day 1 hour, and she never does. In other words, we call it procrastination. That's one issue. And what is do I have the paper? You had the paper, or you wrote? Here. Okay, well, she's going to start the thing. It's going to bring me the paper. I wrote something. It's going to start the video. The editing needs a little help, but we try to do the best we could.
Really super well, and I'm so excited.
Excited? I'm excited for you too. One difficulty you're talking about, you wanted to improve your feelings, ability with your classical singing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we have relationships.
Yeah.
Fears of being seen.
Yeah. A feeling of, like deserving to receive, yeah, and to be really happy.
But what is stopping us here is the feeling.
Entrapment, yeah. Oh, the commitments. Yes, I've always had trouble with making commitments and keeping them because I feel trapped. I like to have the freedom to change my mind on a whim, but that's really counterproductive.
Okay.
Because the thing is, I know I've got the talent, but I let myself go so far and then I let myself slide back. It's almost like I don't allow myself to reach my maximum potential.
And if you were to measure yourself, the potential, the maximum potential where you want to be and where you are right now, so 100% is what I want to be.
Yes.
And what are you right now?
50%.
50%, okay. All right. Just take a couple of deep breaths. And allow yourself to relax. Your mind and body are so relaxed. Go to this place where you are going to practice, but you have decided, I'm going to do this every day. And you're feeling that dread. Just feel that dread. When you reach that level of feeling dread about practicing, just take a deep breath and feel it in your body and tell me where in your body you're feeling it.
My throat.
Throat, thank you. Thank you. Take a deep breath and feel that dread in your throat. First of all, is it okay for you to release that dread? Thank you. I'm going to ask your subconscious to assist us here, to help us to go to the root cause, to the source of wherever that dread, whenever that dread started it. And your subconscious knows exactly where that happened. Just trust the process. I'm going to count from 1 to 3. At 3, you will be at that level. 1, going back all the way back to the root cause, the source, the beginning of that dread. And 2 and 3, you are there. Tell me where you are. Are you inside or outside? Inside. Where are you located? Where do you see yourself?
In the living room.
In the living room. And how old are you?
8, 9.
8. Thank you. Just take a couple of deep breaths and see yourself as an 8-year-old child in the living room. Are there any other people there?
Yeah.
Who is there?
My younger brother and my father.
Just feel her feelings. Just become one with her. And tell me what you're feeling.
Conflict.
This is because, what are you hearing from the people around you?
My father was setting my brother and I in a competition who can sing higher. And he won.
Okay. What are you feeling when you heard or you saw your brother won?
I was disappointed.
Okay, just
I
feel
wanted-
this disappointment in your body. Disappointed or what else?
I wanted to beat him so that my dad would love me,
Okay.
but I didn't want to hurt his feelings because I love my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Just feel those feelings. Just go to that moment that I want my daddy to love me. Just feel that.
Not good enough.
Not good enough. What else?
I felt forced to make a choice.
Tell me more about it.
It felt like I had to choose between being loved by one or loved by the other.
What kind of emotion comes up when you have to make a choice like that?
Fear.
Fear. What else?
It's like I'm stuck, unable to make a choice sometimes.
Okay. Just take a couple of deep breaths with this. I'm stuck, unable to make a choice. Can you relate to the same feelings when you have to practice your music? Yeah.
There was also a confusion, but my gut was that it was more important to me to be loved by my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wanted him to feel love from me.
Yes.
So I let him win.
What did you sacrifice by doing that?
Actually, nothing.
What kind of feeling that you experienced it when I have to choose the love from my brother right now versus be loved by my dad?
It made me feel like I had to earn his love.
Mm-hmm.
That it wasn't there unconditionally.
Yes.
And I felt unable to meet that criteria.
That's right.
So it's like a black and white, either or, him or me, not both of us.
Mm-hmm. So, which one is more painful right now? Is the fact that my dad doesn't love me, or my brother might not love me?
It was painful for me in a way because I loved singing. Willie didn't care. This was just a competition, the spur of the moment thing. And I thought, it just seems so unfair. Singing matters so much to me.
But what kind of emotion came up?
Give up. Despair.
Despair, thank you.
It was from me.
From you, but what was the situation that created the despair?
There were two different things. One where I sort of made the decision that I'm not good enough. I don't have the talent. He does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a big decision.
Okay. And when you look at it from the today's perspective, going backwards, do you agree with that decision?
No,
No.
no. And another decision I made then was also that he does everything effortlessly and I have to work at it.
Okay, just take a couple of deep breaths. And I'm going to ask you to go back to that time now, the adult Ursula that is in front of me, to go back and communicate with that 80-year-old Ursula and feel her feelings and make her see the truth, because at the time you created decisions, abilities you had at the time, right? Or based on how much do I need love from whom, my brother or my father? So, but right now, knowing the future, just go back to the time and and empower this young Ursula, almost feel her feelings and make her feel safe, make her feel it's okay for me to make the decision. It's okay to protect myself. It's okay to be who I am. And you need to communicate with your brother or your father. Who do you wish to communicate first?
My brother.
Okay. What do you need to say to him? And let the little 8-year-old child to speak up.
I love you. It's not a competition.
That's right. What else you need to say to your brother?
Forgive me.
Yes. Forgive you for what? What did you do that you need forgiveness for?
Competing. And also holding myself back.
Mm-hmm. For holding yourself back and also competing. Now, was your desire to compete, or you were put in that?
Always put in that.
Okay, so explain that to your brother.
Both my mother and father always competed us against each other. It prevented us from being able to be loving brothers and sisters.
Just take deep breaths.
And I love them so much.
How does he feel when she's witnessing now your pain and also your love? How does he feel? Because he was put in that competition too.
Well, at the time, he said he didn't take it that seriously at all.
But now when you're looking at him, what he's saying, imagine he's looking at you and he's speaking to you, what he's saying.
He said, I have no idea that you were that competitive or that you held yourself back for me. He doesn't want me to do that anymore.
Just take enough deep breaths and feel his loving energy that's coming from him.
Because he
What
looked
else?
up to me. He admired me
Okay.
and wants me to be my best.
Yes.
He said, show my love for him by being my best.
That's right. What happened to the confusion when you can show your love and be your best?
He says it's not either or.
What's happening inside of you when you're hearing that, Ursula?
It's like a deep opening, a permission to let go.
What else do you need to hear in order to let it go 100%?
That he loves me when I do my best, when I don't hold myself back,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants the best for me.
Just experience the feelings that when he's giving you permission and he's demonstrating his love to you.
And he says, I know you love me. Even though I didn't tell him on the day that he died, when I had the chance to on the phone.
Can you tell him now?
He knows that I love him.
Just tell him again right now.
I love you, Willie. I always did.
What he's saying to you.
He's a good girl. He doesn't want me to suffer anymore, to punish myself.
Just take deep breaths, please. Just look at each other. What decisions are you making right now?
To live full out, to love unconditionally. And not hold myself back anymore. I give myself permission to do and be my best.
How do you feel with that?
I feel light, like I could float.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge weight gone.
Just take enough deep breaths. Allow yourself to relax. So look at him and feel the love that is coming from him. And focus that love towards you. Just speak to that part of you. What do you want to say to that part?
I want to just hold her and tell her I love her, that she made the best decision she knew at the time, but she
Yes.
doesn't have to be restricted like that anymore.
How about if you tell her?
I had a nickname, Ushi.
Okay, so start with that.
Little Ushi. I know it was a hard choice to make. And I love you from my heart because it came from the heart. But now I know better, and you don't have to make such black and white choices. There are so many more options. Love is much bigger than that.
How about the competition part? Do you have to compete with anybody?
No,
Tell
no.
her that.
You don't have to compete with anybody for my love. I love you just the way you are.
How's his feeling listening to you?
Beautiful.
Does he trust you?
Yes, she believes me.
Just imagine her. She's coming to you. Just embrace her. And if you wish to give her anything she wants, and how does she like to be cared for by you?
Yeah, she just wanted to know that she was special.
How are you going to make her special?
I'm give her a nice little pretty dress and do her hair up in ribbons to be more girly. She doesn't have to be a tomboy to compete.
Mm-hmm.
She wants she wants to be more feminine, more like a girl. Hmm. I'm proud she's a girl. So proud. You're such a pretty little girl. And I will let that out and nourish it, nurture it. And you don't have to be ashamed that you weren't born a boy. That's their problem. I'm glad you're a girl. I love you for being
How is he feeling?
wonderfully comforting. Something she's wanted to hear all her life.
Just take deep breaths and feel her energy. This energy is within you. She's part of you. Embrace her. She's looking at you and she's saying what?
Saying, I love you.
Finally, you embrace me. Thank you.
And she has her own strength. She doesn't have to be a boy to be strong.
Okay.
Yeah, I realize you have the strengths. You've got all kinds of abilities and talents and everything you need to go through life. Hold your head high, be the best that you can be without having to compete with men, compete trying to be the same as a man or boys. You don't have to. You can just be yourself. That way you shine for who
Yes.
you are. She's so happy to hear that.
Yes. What's he saying now to you?
She's throwing her arms around me.
Yes. What do you need to do now? Or you want to do?
I'm hugging her back. It's like I've tried to sometimes push her away.
How about if you say, I'm sorry I did that?
I'm sorry I did that. I didn't know any better. Sorry I pushed you away. I'm sorry, I wished you were something other than what you were.
Deep breath.
I'm sorry I gave away your power. You deserve so much better than that. And you are worth better than that.
This time I would like you to become this little girl and speak to the adult Ursula empowering you. What would you want to say to the adult Ursula? Take deep breaths.
Thank you for finally acknowledging me. Because I'm your hidden power, your feminine power. You can be strong as a woman on your own terms. And you don't need to put yourself second to a man, to any men, to find love or to have worth. Like you did growing up. Words of wisdom from a child. Ah, it's beautiful. From my inner child, my little Ushi. Wow.
Look at her. How is she feeling?
She's feeling seen and heard.
Does she need anything more from you?
No.
Does she trust you that you're going to embrace her?
She trusts me.
Just embrace her and allow her to come closer to you. Hold her in your arm like this little 8-year-old child she was. And tell her how beautiful she is and anything else you wish to.
You are so beautiful. You're so smart. And you're so kind. And you have such a good heart. And know that that's the right place to come from. And we were mistaken to let people put us down for being friendly to strangers. It's wonderful to show love. And I'm so glad that you never gave up on me. And that's one thing that she just said to me. She said, well, my mother called it stubborn. She calls it persistent. She doesn't give up. I'm so glad you didn't. She's been waiting a long time for today. I will put that persistence to good use going forward.
Imagine she's coming closer to you and you both become one. And you take all these hard times from the past and make them your strength and power.
Yes. She's part of me.
You are part of her too.
Yes.
Feel the energy inside of you. Just joining together, become one. Promise each other that you will look after each other.
I promise I will look after you. And she promises to.
Just take deep breaths. Feel this positive energy, the strength, the power. And now you're one. I want you to look at your father. What do you need to say to your father?
I forgive you. You didn't fully appreciate the seriousness of that little game, how it would affect me, how it might have affected Willie. Because you were just having fun and you didn't really appreciate how much I needed you to love me unconditionally without having to jump through hoops to earn it. And I realized that you were just doing what happened to you. And I love you. And I know you didn't mean any harm. And I actually wish you the peace that I have found today. The peace that you perhaps couldn't find with your parents. Because you had to earn their love and you found you never could. So I just want you to know that I love you. And you don't have to do anything to earn that love. I give it freely.
Just see him, imagine him receiving your love.
I see him as a little boy,
Yes,
our age,
yes.
and he's crying because it's something he's needed to hear.
Yes. What he's saying to you.
He's saying, thank you. I love you too. He's thanking me. And I'm comforting him.
Speak to him again.
I want you to know how beautiful you are. Your soul. So much love. I want you to know that you are loved. You are lovable. Let people see who you are. The kindness, the heart inside. That's what they need. Trust that that's enough. Because it is. Yeah.
Do you feel his love?
I do. And he's so grateful to me for saying that to him.
Look at the energy between the father and you. What color is it?
It's like a golden yellow.
Make it pink. Feel his energy. Look how proud he is of you.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you're singing and he's watching you in front of thousands of people. How does he feel?
Incredibly proud.
Just feel his love.
There was so much competition even between us as performers. And now I see that that was uh, his way of trying to impress me. And by my holding myself back in the past, was supposedly my way of convincing him that I loved him.
Mhm.
What a mess. And now it's sort of like poof, evaporated.
But how about the confusion?
It's gone.
Just send him, open up your heart and send him love through your heart with this pink energy. And he's doing the same thing to you. And just absorb, take that love and hold it inside of you, knowing that my daddy loves me. I am lovable. Yes, I don't have to be in competition. I'm just going to honor myself.
It just feels like another layer of holding myself back has been removed that I didn't know was there. Mm.
Imagine now that you have to practice.
Oh, I'm excited now.
How about if you decide that I'm going to practice every day for an hour? Is that okay?
Absolutely. I'm eager to do that.
Just send love to your father, including your brother, and look at your father right now. What are the feelings between your father and you?
Love and gratitude. He's very proud of me, of the person and the woman I've become. And he's also very thankful how I'm looking after them now.
Hmm.
That he could never have hoped for a better daughter.
Imagine you live in life every day. How different does it feel?
It's wonderful. It's so much lighter and it's so much easier to focus, to even articulate goals. I used to find it so hard to even make a goal, write it down or, schedule. Now I'm okay. I'm eager to do that,
Just
to
take
grow.
it. Just look towards the future and see yourself performing in front of people. A lot of people, thousands of people. How does that feel like?
Fabulous. It's like I'm sharing my gift. I heal with my voice and my heart. They hear music, but they're touched and they leave a different person. And now I feel I can do that by embracing my femininity.
Mhm. Just take deep breaths. Earlier, when we started, I asked you, what percentage out of 100 you blocking yourself? And you said 50%. Look at the way you feel right now. Is there any percentage that you're still blocking yourself?
I feel like I'm at 100% right now.
Good. Just take enough deep breaths, allow your whole body to accept this new way of thinking, new way of feeling, new way of expressing yourself, new way of being. In the meantime, I'm going to count from 1 to 10. At 10, you're coming back to this room, feeling wonderful in every level, able to just take your life and move on. Open your eyes. Come back to this room. Feels wonderful.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I feel so light and happy and full of love.
When you're thinking towards your future, what do you feel?
Very confident that I can make a difference, be a difference. Yeah. I don't have any impulse to procrastinate or put other tasks first. It's more important for me to do the things that I need to do to allow that talent to get to the level that it needs to be, that I know it can easily be when I just discipline myself, even for a short time. I know my body is so responsive. And I'm really grateful for that. And I will make the most of it. Because I've been so abundantly blessed and blessed today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How was this session for you?
I'm speechless. I just feel a little bit like I've been wrung out.
What does that mean?
I'm so happy.
Wonderful.
And I'm so grateful for that connection I made with my brother, with Willie, and with my younger father.
Yes.
I mean, it was such a privilege to communicate with that child because I know how much he's been suffering all these years. He says, you know, I've forgiven my parents, but I know that there's that little boy. And I think just by showing him love and also not letting him push me around, tell me what to do, he'll respect that from me now. I know that. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ursula.
It was powerful. Life-changing. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a new woman. I'm a different person I was than before this session.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, Debbie.
Any other question anybody has? Any questions regarding the video? My training different from others, the training of hypnosis. Most people, and I know that in fact, you can take any class in hypnotherapy, they will teach you how to hypnotize and you're going to be good with everybody. But the difference in my training is because I've done millions of sessions, millions really, I don't know if it's millions, but so many for 25 or so years, anything I teach, I do a demo. So in normal trainings, they would never take somebody with anxiety, for example, and demonstrate how to resolve anxiety, or with addiction, how to clear the addiction, and all that. I personally, if I'm going to hypnotize somebody, spend that 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 2 minutes, depends on the inductions we use. I take the next 20 minutes to demonstrate a technique how to deal with this issue. So this is not done very much. Even when I go to conferences, I'm looking for a place where can I demonstrate something. First time here, I had to prepare something from before. I normally wanted it to do a demo here in front of everybody. Can you do, somebody asked me, can you do over the phone? I do 30% of my work is over the phone. And right now, the remaining is, most of it is on Zoom. And I still see a couple of clients if it's emergency arises, because I have a big room in the back and we can sit far away with their masks and all that. But I do a lot of work over the phone for years, not now, for years and years. because I work internationally all over the world. Because of the results I create, people would talk about it. There was a guy who called me up and he says, Debbie, I know you for 10 years. And I was in Chicago in one of the meetings and somebody says, I have these problems and this and that. And two people in the same meeting said, why didn't you go fly down to Toronto to have a session with Debbie? And he says, I was surprised because I was there and I knew you. So people know me all over because of the work. Everybody's sending messages to everybody, and that's why we do work all over the place. I have a very successful business, and I think the success of the business is because I take each situation and work with it. And I do have a long-term clients, and I have a shorter-term clients, and I do just hypnosis, but very, very little, and I do combination, and I also do just psychotherapy. So people have asked me whatever they want. What is that? Do professionals
Need
to complete only one level? What the values of level 2?
the hypnosis training.
The hypnosis training. Okay. The hypnosis training, if people wanted to, just psychotherapists wanted to learn psychotherapy, I don't have to spend the whole training I do with people who are not psychotherapists, but I have to have enough people to do that. Right now I'm teaching everybody. So, and within the teaching, I will say, well, if you're not psychotherapy, you're not allowed to do this. And if you're psychotherapy, you can do this, take it further. So, but if I was to do just as a hypnotherapist, as just psychotherapist, I can teach 2-3 days, just how to hypnotize. And then we can take, you can put your training with a lot of inductions I'm going to do, and a lot of demos I'm going to do, then you can combine your work into it. Because I'm not going to learn how to hypnotize is easy. What do you do after you hypnotize is the most difficult one. I hope I answered your questions. If you have more, please, actually, you can call me at 416-760-8996, and I can have a discussion with anybody who wants anything. In fact, anything you heard something and you want a more explanation, or the video, I have to speak to Camille if she can put it there, all of it. We might need to edit it just a tiny, because we were not very good with the editing. It was last minute thing. Anyway, thank you very much. And
Thank you so much, Debbie. That was really incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise. That fantastic introduction to hypnotherapy, and the video was really incredible. It was great to see it in action. We really appreciate having you today.
thank you very much, and I thank everybody for joining us today. And it sounded like we were a little bit not all that prepared, because trying to get the video, but I did the best I could, and I have to leave it at that. Thank you, and thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me again.
Thank you. The video was great.
This is the best school, guys. If you really learn, if you wanted to learn psychotherapy, all these other programs they have, is a great school. I've been there many times, and we had meetings, and we had the people are lovely, and everybody, especially Linda and everybody else, and Camille. Thank you so much, Camille, and thank everybody. And if anybody has any questions, please let me know. I'm open. I'm very easy to answer anything you wish to. You want me to talk about.
Fantastic. And I just let everybody know as we're wrapping up that I'm going to send out an email that's a follow-up that will have more links to how you can connect with Debbie if you'd like to learn a little bit more about hypnotherapy. That email will also have information about getting a psychotherapy certificate of attendance if you're interested in that. So the link will be in that email. That email is also going to have a link to register for our next session. So next month, we're very excited to have Maria Iosu, who's the past president and current executive vice president of the Canadian Association for Sand Play. She's going to present on Jungian sand play therapy for all ages, and that's going to be on Thursday, March 4th at 12 p.m. noon Eastern time. So you'll get an email with all of that details if you're interested in joining us for our next presentation.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, wonderful. And I'd like to thank Rosa. Thank you. Say hi to her, and thank you, Camille. Thank you. That was a pleasant to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we're wrapping up, and I'll be ending the webinar. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.